Good morning, students. In this session, let us have a discussion on a small topic, engineering as social experimentation in the course Human Values and Professional Ethics. In engineering plans, activities, there is always exist experimental process plays a vital role in all engineering plans, activities, action, and also there are some inherently risk factors present in our all the actions and projects in concern with the engineering. So for this, we may quote some examples. All we know the accident of the Titanic ship. So it was started to stay in 1912 year. So at that time, the ship has many technologies, features like swimming pool, massage centers, and also the more number of passengers also could be sailed, like 3,500 passengers, and also some attractive fascinating structure. So there are a lot of facilities and features and new techniques incorporated in the design. So the sailor confidently started to sail, but the ship was suddenly hit with the icebergs in the sea. So the ship was flooded with all the compartments. But unfortunately, there should exist a appropriate number of lifeboats. But at the time, the ship has only 1/3 of the lifeboats to accommodate to save the passengers' life. So unfortunately, due to the insufficient quantity of the lifeboats, nearly 1,500 passengers were drowned to death. So it's a very pathetic tragedy occurred. So, in the ethical point of view, if we would have prevented, so the disaster would have been prevented if the engineers the thought for the future. So, upon exploring the ethical implications, so the engineering should be viewed as a experimental process. So the experiment can be conducted in the laboratory, but due to the ethical issue, the lifeboats could be accommodated to the minimum number of to save the passengers. So the ethical point of view, it was wrong. And also, wherever a great risk to human life is involved, the precautionary safety measurements should be carried out. So from the one example, it is obvious that all the engineering activities plans has be subjected to the various experimental process. So before introducing and bringing to the public, it should be thoroughly examined and tested for the various aspects like the efficiency, performance, and also safety. So let us have a discussion. So it plays a very vital role in the designing of the project. Every product should be completed from the design itself. So the designer, from his concept, may visualize all the methods from the design itself to the assembly section. So during the stages of design, there may be some changes due to the practical inconvenience. So the designer also redesign his concept and redesign. For example, the material quoted may be purchased the same material, but it may not be necessary to have the exact 100% characteristics alike. There may be some variation in the composition or material properties, also slight variation there. So it is unavoidable. So during the design stage itself, as we know, it is an iterative process. So the feedback from each stage should be considered by the designer, and you have to incorporate all the changes in the design itself. So let us have here some next topic. What are the similarities between the standard experiment and the engineering experiment. So the standard experiment can be considered as some test conducted in a lab, physics or chemistry, or some small drug can be given to some animals or birds or humans. So it may be considered as a standard experiments. Then we know the engineering experiments. So first is the both has some partial ignorance because in both engineering experiments and also standard experiments, any person cannot start the test or experiment with 100% awareness and knowledge. So there always exists some ignorance. The reason behind is there also exists some amount of uncertainties also present to a certain extent because the engineers or other persons do not have all the facts available well in advance. So there exists, as we know, some uncertainties in all the activities. And also it may be known by the testing only. Sometimes the engineering project or experiment, some test may be bypassed. And all the activities carried out in the engineering project is based on the talent and the knowledge of the engineer. He plays a vital role. Second is the outcome of all the experiment, whether it may be standard or engineering, there exists some uncertain. So what are the uncertainties here is model used for the design calculation, exact characteristics of the material purchased, because the same material may be purchased from different sources. So there is no guarantee to have the exact characteristics like in all the material, and also consistency of the material used, and also the nature or practical scenario, whether engineers are subject to the pressurized environment to make the delivery. So these are some uncertainties always exist. For example, the reservoir may cause some damage if it leaks in future. Even when it is put into use, the reservoir may cause some leakage. So it threatens to the human life. Similarly, a nuclear power plant reactor also may radiate harmful radiations. So it will definitely affect the surrounding people. Third is the engineering works depends upon the knowledge possessed about the products at initial and end stages. So in the standard and engineering projects, the persons and the engineers should know the position and condition of the product at the initial stage, and also at the final stage it will be created at the final stage. So it will be very useful for producing the better products in the future. It is possible only by the periodical observation and testing and the keen observation of the every stages of the productions. So the test may involve the performance test or efficiency, safety consideration, cost orientation. So all the factors to be considered in the testing. Because after the testing only, it will be put into use. Sometimes in the engineering, before starting fabricating a real product, a prototype may also be used for testing purpose. So if it is satisfied, the exact product can be started to be fabricated and production. And the next is the learning from the past. So even though the engineers has the Pakka knowledge, design awareness, and the material knowledge, and the machining facilities, latest techniques. So whatever may be the features or the knowledge or techniques available with the engineers, he should always refer to the history, past history of the product which was created in the past. So the similar products can be considered with the past history. So from the past history, the engineers may have some lessons. For example, the Titanic tragedy happened, but before that, the similar tragedy occurred some years back in the Arctic regions. So the people responsible for the Titanic ship did not consider the history of the tragedy occurred to the same type of ship before. Similarly, in the Sweden, Sunshine Skyline Bridge also collapsed in 1980, but the similar bridge collapses occurred in 1964 and 1975. So also it is an ethical issue. So ethically, it was not good because the persons involved in engineering or any safety measures should be consider the past history of the tragedy occurred. If they referred or studied the past history, the accident could have been avoided. And also, similarly, the accident to the nuclear reactor at 3 Mile Island in 1979, also due to the malfunction of the valves. The same accident occurred due to the problem, technical issue concerned with the valves occurred well before. So this did not to be minded to the engineers. So it also be avoided. So as a conclusion, the engineers uh, also should look into the current techniques procedures, but also the review of the past cases led into the appropriate task related to the task. And let us have the next discussion on the contrast between the similar standard experiment and engineering experiment. So in few aspects, there are some differences between the standard experiment and the engineering experiment. So the differences are very much helpful to find out the social responsibilities of the engineers and also help them to knowing about the moral responsibilities in their role. First is the experimental control. So let us have here two groups from the same people. So the group A is allotted some number of people, and group B is allotted here some group of people in the same environment. But the group A given the special experimental treatment, that is the standard experiment. But the group B, even though they come from the same environment, not given any test. So this group is called a control group. But it is possible only in the standard experiment, but it's not possible in the engineering experiment, because in engineering, our project works related to the human, the society of people. So here the subjects are the humans, because the humans are subjected to the test and experimentation, and because finally all the works go to the hands of the customer. So the humans are subject to the experimentation. So like in the standard experiment, it is not possible to have a random selection. So the engineering can be viewed as a natural experiment. But in recent years, the experimental control was getting avoided among the engineers. And second is the informed consent. Here, the engineering is closely related to the testing of the new drug, and also the humans are subjected to the test. So when the new medicine is tested, it should be informed to the humans, awareness, and what are the effects that would occur, and also with the consent of the person only the drug is tested. So there are the two main principles involved in the informed consent. One is the knowledge and voluntariness. So the knowledge here refers the human subjects should be given the full awareness and the knowledge on the test, and what are consequences and what are the side effects that would occur. So it should be given and ethically, and also any human subjects, that is any human should not be compelled and forced to come under the test. So the no human beings should not be subject to the test without his consent. This is a very, very important ethical from the ethical point of view. So the experiment has to consider the fundamental rights of the human subjects. It is very, very important. So in medicine and engineering, there may be some large gap between the experiment and the knowledge gained in the difficulties of the experiment. So in medicine, before prescribing a medicine, the physician should consider what are the causes and the effects, and what are the allergies, or what are the side effects that would occur on the human. So it should be given the priority before testing a drug on a human. So similarly, for the engineering, the engineer has to consult with the management and to give awareness of the product to the people of the society. So the cooperation of the management is very much helpful. So the some conditions are essential for the valid informed consent. So the consent must be given voluntarily, not by any compulsion. So the voluntarism should be very, very important. So it is unethical and immoral to include a person without his consent to the test. So the consent must be based on the relevant informations. Third, the consenter must be capable of processing the information and make rational decisions. And the information needed by a rational person must be stated in a form to understand without any difficulty. So these are some conditions available for the valid informed consent. Then the knowledge gained from the experimentation. So the scientific experiments, as we know, is based on certain laws. So every scientific instrument, new scientific experiments are designed and connected to get a new knowledge. But engineering activities and projects in all the times do not give any new knowledge. Suppose we can say the output of a product or a project may be good or working satisfactorily. So that from that we can conclude it works better and it is correct. So we can conclude the design and machining and all the aspects related to the design and fabrication design, all the matters can be concluded as right. From that we can conclude all the factors are correct. So the scientific instruments every time give the new idea and the new knowledge, but all the times the engineering experiments do not give the new knowledge. So we can satisfactorily complete a project, then it can be functioning properly. That is a result as output we can get from the engineering project. So in the next class, we can also have the same different discussion on the different title, the same course. Thank you, students.